Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. I wanted to do a review of Underground Season 2, the first episode. I think I expressed like in one of my other videos, I usually don't like to see, slave movies, and I would like to see us in another, light, kind of probably pre-slavery. But I do like Underground. I did like that last season, and it came back, and I thought it's probably I wasn't gonna, watch it this season. But the first episode, I got to see what happens. So again, this is season 2, and I'm assuming everybody has probably seen season 1. If not, it probably would be a good idea to go back and binge watch. Okay, so season 2, it looks like these are probably going to be on Tuesday nights. I guess the first airing was March 7th, and so that's the episode they're currently running. I don't have cable. I do have some channels, but I'm trying to get away from that, so I'm using other media streaming to watch the show. So I think right now, if you don't want to go and order cable, I think you can get the season on Hulu, and also if you have Amazon Prime. Okay, so a little bit of help, and I think maybe a Fire Sticks, you might be able to get it and watch it through that. But this first episode was called Contraband. It was 46 minutes, and we got a handful of new characters. What is that guy's name? I think it's Bokeem Woodbine. He's been in a few, movies. If you see the face, you'll be like, yeah, I know who that is. There is Aisha Hines, who's playing Harriet Tubman. And then, for the other star guests, you have Aldous Hodge. And if you guys ever watched Leverage, it's the black guy on that. And he's playing a character, Noah. And you guys know Journey Smollett Bell, who plays Rosalie. Okay, so I did enjoy this because you get to see a little bit of history in this episode. We do know last time the first season was closing out, Steen was going to be sold. So we find out that, well, the story, it opens up first. We do meet Bokeem Woodbine's character, which he's a stonemason. So we'll get to see how he plays out in it. So in this episode, you see he goes to another plantation and does some work for his owner, and how he collects the money, and at the end of the day, he has to come and give it to the owner. Beautiful work that he does. Then we see Rosalie and Harriet Tubman helping some other slaves escape. So we're introduced to that, and how they're being hunted by, bounty hunters, and how they're able to pay off the bounty hunters. So we see that in that first scene. This is like the first, I guess, 5-6 minutes that this is all happening. The stonemason, and then Rosalie and Harriet Tubman's character. So also we see that John is addressing the courts to try to get Noah expedited down to Georgia. We see that he's been in Ohio jail for 5 months. This is where the story picks up. And we see that John and his wife are still helping slaves, transition on to Canada. And then Ernestine, we know that she has been sold, so we find out where she's been sold to. And it's like the Gullah people. And these people still do exist and own land in this country. They still do have the traditions of, slaves, still speak the language and hold the traditions. And they're like on the islands of like South Carolina and Georgia. So we're introduced, and we find out that that's where she's been sold to. It's like a row plantation, like a rice plantation. She's planting rice. And we do immediately see that her back has lashes. She's been whipped. Here's this mixed house servant who has never known the fields, has now been sold into hard labor by her ex-master's wife. So we see that Steen is like self-medicating herself, or getting high off of some solution that she's breathing it up through a handkerchief, and she's booed up with another fellow slave. So After that, we see, that John is able to get a message to Noah that they're going to try and, as he's being expedited, to rescue him. So John is able to come in and, get him checks in. He wants to see the slave, before he's transported or what. So he's able to get him looked at and get that message to him that, hey, we're going to try to, when they move you, we're going to rescue you. So let's see, Elizabeth, she joins a sewing circle, which turns out to be a handful of women who are gunslinging, abolitionists. So Elizabeth doesn't know how to shoot a gun, but she learns from them, and she's, actively participating in this group to, change some things. So we see, as Noah's in jail, that he does miss Rosalie. He's making a ring out of some wire that he's kind of, bending and saving for her. So now that he knows he's going to be rescued and that, one day he's going to see her again. So he's making a ring, and he goes and he foils these two slaves that they're, grabbing the handles and nails off of things because they're planning to escape by killing some guards or what. And so Noah sees this going on, and no, y'all ain't gonna. So he foils their plan, throws their stuff away, and tell we're gonna be rescued. But you're not gonna foil up my plan, okay? What have you? So whatever you had going down, it ain't gonna happen. So one of these things that I noticed, okay, the story jumps back to Steen and her man. And we see that the guy that Steen is with, he's humiliated by the slave overseer. He tries to speak up on something, like they want something done that's going to take weeks. They want it done in 4 days. And he goes to speak up. This overseer is just punching him and making his mouth bleed. And you see the one scene when he's on the ground, how his gaze just cuts over to Steen, seeing your man humiliated. And later on we find out, as he's humiliated, he's taking this out on Steen. So again, we said Elizabeth, she learns to shoot a gun. She didn't know how. She comes actually to the sewing circle just thinking, they were going to do some other stuff, not that, they're gunslinging. But they go out and they teach her how to shoot. Okay. Then we find out that John's request for Noah's release is rejected, and he is set to hang instead. So now they know, John knows, and he, conveys to Rosalie that, hey, he's going to be hung. So they devise a plan. They're like, we're just going to have to get him from the gallows. When he's hanging in the middle of the city, we're going to have to devise a plan to get him. So, they get their little contacts and whatever, and their little bit of help to go and try to, rescue him. So there's another scene that cuts back to the Gullah people, and we see, how they keep their, African traditions. We see that they're getting married, and how, how they prepare food, and how they dance, and how, they give well wishes in their traditions. I think this is just really important, because this land still exists. These people still own this land, and they pass it down. But there has been where, they're making these resorts, and basically big companies come in, are taking this land. Even though it belongs to them, corporations and, corporate entities are just coming in and really doing a number on these people, and drawing up just legal stuff when it isn't legal, just taking their land. Same thing like, like the Indians. It belongs to them. They've passed it down. But whenever a corporation or somebody sees that, hey, they can make resorts and they can make, money off of it, everything is trumped for these people of what they own, and they're taking it and just doing what they wish with it. So I was glad that they did stick that in there. It's education. Okay, so we see that Steen is still seeing spirits. We know if you've seen season 1, You know, the one girl that was going to kind of rat everything out, Steen killed her because it was either she was going to tell everything or her mouth needed to be shut permanently. So Steen went and did the job, you know, cut her wrist. But Steen is enduring all kind of turmoil. Her current situation, on top of, you know, the drug use, you know, she's just trying to be numb to everything. And at the same time, she's seeing that person that she killed, the spirit is, you know, haunting her. So in the next scene after that, John decides to become part of the courts because he's just like, you know, how can I help? What can I do? You know, there's a court seat. It's going to be opening up. I'm going to take that. And he asks his wife, and I know his wife is just kind of hesitant. But then she agrees, you know, yeah, go ahead and do it. And the scene flips back to Steen's man, and we find out where, you know, the stuff that Steen has been taking, these drugs, we find out where they come from. It's actually the overseer who has given them to Steen's man and telling him, you know, to give it out to the rest of the slaves. And he makes some kind of, you know, statement that, you know, he wants them docile. You know, not dead, but, you know, he wants them docile. So, we see like this guy's trying to talk up. He says something to the effect, you know, like, well, I can't help what they do with it. And then he's punched again by the overseer, humiliated in front of his woman. And then after the, you know, the guy, he's mad about it, of course, but you're a slave. You can't do nothing about it. So Steen's sitting there, you know, not making any eye contact, like she's not even bothered with what's going on in the background. She has to, you know, act like she doesn't see it. So she's making, you know, something for them to eat. So he comes, the guy, overseer leaves. The guy comes and sits down with Steve and Steen. He's like, you know, well, I don't want rice. You know, I hate rice or whatever. She's like, you don't have to eat it. Bam, he pops her on the floor, mouth bloody. You see this situation where the man doesn't know how to be. He can't be a man. So his only way of being a man is beating up his woman. The overseer beats on him, and he beats on his woman. So that's a powerful message right there. So Noah's about to be hanged. The, you know, marshals, they're beating him up, and they're taking him out to the gallows. And he is about out of here. Then he hears this whistling. And if you watch season 1, there was a special way that Noah told Rosalie that he would whistle when he, you know, to know it was him. So she's whistling, and he looks up and he's looking through the crowd because, you know, he knows this whistle. So she lets him know, and they set eyes and see each other for the first time in 5 months. They set eyes on each other, and she lets him know, hey, we getting you out of here, you know. There's that body language. So Rosalie sets a fire, some kind of chemical that she uses, and then there's a few explosions. John jumps on the scene. He comes in horse and carriage, and then there's Noah gets his friend, and then the fellow slaves that were with him or whatever, they get in there, and then there's a chase. And then there's people chasing him, and they're like, I don't think that's the marshals, and it doesn't look like the marshals. It's some kind of bounty hunters or something. So there's a fight. Noah gets knocked out of the carriage, and John's fighting with somebody else and what, and we find out the other guys took Noah. I have a feeling, and y'all gonna let me know if I was right in the next scene. You remember that bounty hunter, that one woman from season 1 with the long, I think she has long red hair or something. I got a feeling that that may be her people. Y'all let me know if I was right or if I was wrong. Please come back and let me know when the next episode airs. And in the end, this is about to go off. You know, we see Steen and her man self-medicating in the end. You know, they just both out of it. Slaves are just trying to make themselves numb to their situation. And again, that's just so powerful, just to think of what our people went through. I mean, I do not like all of these slave movies. I would like to see us in another, you know, light. Before, you know, we were down, we were great. I would love to see that. But I guess you got to be reminded at sometimes what our folks, what they went through. So in the end, we see that, you know, they're getting high and they're just numbing themselves. And then, boom, you have to watch, continue to watch and watch the season 2, because John, somebody rides up on a horse and it's just like John Hawks, and he gets a bullet to the head. So here's a character that is out of here, an important character. So what is going to happen? Now I'm sure you're going to have Elizabeth, his wife. She's grieving now, and this is raw, but a woman scorned. Y'all done pissed the wrong one off. So, you guys, subscribe, leave your comments below, and please let me know when you watch the next episode, was I right or was I wrong? I got a feeling it's that one bounty hunter, the woman from season 1. Okay? So, thumbs up.